Each year, thousands of young Australians will suffer a brain injury. Most will be under 25 years and most will be male. They need help to access rehabilitation services. Lack of appropriate resources leads to the regression and demise of a valuable young life. Freshtracks helps people to return to playing sport. Recumbent and specialised cycling provides tracks for assessment, and therapists from the Royal Rehabilitation Centre Sydney tailor individual exercise recovery plans. So can you tell me his story?
Harry's a 15-year-old boy that was diagnosed with a mid-brain tumour at 13. He started getting sick, the doctors didn't pick it up, and eventually we found the tumour and he had major surgery, which they normally don't do for a type of tumour in that area, but then he was meant to just progressively get better afterwards, but that didn't happen. Part of the price for doing the surgery was an acquired brain injury which affects his right side, so he had to learn to talk and walk and use his hand again. And as we've tried to get him back to school and back to normal for the last 18 months, we've failed. He's cascaded through a series of illnesses which has prevented him from getting back to school and back to a normal life. And so finally we've just made the decision to keep him home and do distance education and just try and find out, where his tolerance levels are for activity so that he can have a bit of quality of life.
I want to talk to you about Freshtracks. Freshtracks is a registered charity that helps young people with an acquired brain injury make their full potential of what they can actually achieve. The hub that we're in today is the St Ives Community Hub at Hart. So that's a Honda Australia rider training school. It's a fantastic facility. We've got over 40 acres of area. We've got 3 tracks, a skid track, a 1 kilometre track and a 2 kilometre track. And so these young people with an acquired brain injury can actually come down here and use the tracks on a recumbent bike. How the program works is that when a person with an acquired brain injury comes to us, we'll get Royal Rehab to come and assess these people as to their level of ability in terms of what track they can ride on, whether they need a carer to supervise them, and they can ride the recumbent bikes. Often these people with an acquired brain injury can be socially isolated, so it gives them a chance to meet up with other people in similar situations and make friends. We'd like to expand this concept to provide opportunities for people across Sydney and then also to across Australia. So we're looking at Penrith, Sutherland, maybe around Centennial Park to try and find these hubs located in key locations across Sydney so people will have easy access to get to these bikes. We'd then love to then set this up across Australia because we believe it's such a valuable opportunity for these young people to get outside. Often they may be riding a bike, but it's actually on one of those pedal bikes inside, so it's steering at a wall. Now they can actually get outside and feel the air, wind in their hair, and just really enjoy it. And when you look at them, you can see what huge smiles they have on their face, how much they really love it, getting out. And they have now control over their own life. If they want to turn left, they can turn left. If they want to turn right, they can turn right. Rather than always being directed and pushed in one direction, they can now start feeling they now have independence. And that's one of the key things they just love, and that builds self-esteem, and then that will really increase in terms of just their rehabilitation. Eventually what we want to do is expand the program out for a respite, so that working with community care, they'll get a driver to go up and pick up the person with an acquired brain injury, bring them back here. We'll have a volunteer who looks after them while they do an hour's cycling. So again, just as like a half-day respite care, they get taken then back to their families. So respite is so desperately needed. Often with respite, all you do is you go bowling or you go shopping, and neither of those are a great benefit to the person with an acquired brain injury. So this again could set up quite a unique facility which is helping the carers because they need a break, but also really helping those with an acquired brain injury.
Okay. My name's Craig Head from Recumbent and Specialised Cycles. I'm always getting asked how I got into riding a recumbent bike, and about 8 years ago I had an injured back which stopped me from riding in my normal fashion with the boys on Wednesdays and Sunday morning. I got onto a bike similar to this one and quickly got back into the group with riding on my Wednesdays and Sundays, and got back down to my 90 kilos, which I'm very happy about. And then I was always getting asked, where do I get these bikes? So one thing led to another and I started selling them. Something that's led on from there is not necessarily that I'm selling that many bikes or it's that popular sport, but the pleasure I get out of helping cerebral palsy children, watching the smile on their face, getting them mobile again. Freshtracks is the organisation for getting money, raising money for all the people here that can't buy this sort of equipment themselves. They've now developed here with Heart here at Terry Hills, where we come here every second Wednesday at the moment, and we assess people whether they can ride or not, and what they can and which bike suits them for that sort of thing. The plan in the future is for this facility to be used like a library, and they'll be coming along. They've got the bike that they've been assessed for. They'll be able to use the pedals that we've assessed them for. We've got some large variety of pedals and different things. The bike will be set up for them, and they'll be able to use the skid pan if they're up to one category. And if they go further than that, we've got a 2.1 kilometre track that they can ride around on. And if they go further than that and they now can get out of the facility, they could buy their own bike and take it home and do it during the week at their own leisure. But at the moment, our plan is to have a library sort of system where they can just come and use the bikes at a very minimal charge.
And do you find that this is improving his quality of life, but does it improve his brain function at all doing this? Or?
Probably too early to tell. What this does for us is it's a social outing, so it's being in the home, it's being with other people other than me, because I'm his primary carer, his mother, his teacher, his coordinating the rehab. So it's good to have other people. It's good to work on his endurance, because how he presented should have been with motor issues for the tumour, but what it presented as was chronic fatigue and then glandular fever. So there's lots of, and then having had the surgery on top of that, then there's lots of complications, because now he has problems doing all kinds of things. Endurance on thinking, endurance on, just being upright and sitting in a chair all day, but like attending school is a problem. Endurance with sport, endurance on that weak side, even endurance really with his health, because we keep getting all these other things. So this is a great opportunity for Harry to get out, to mix with other people, to work slowly on endurance. It doesn't upset him. Some activities will trigger periods of unwell, and so this doesn't do that. So it's something that he can manage safely. And with the riders going with him, it's safe. It's a normal type of activity, particularly for a 15-year-old boy. He's still not a man, he's a child.
Got a 5-year-old boy. His name's Cooper, and he was born I think 6 months after I had the stroke. That was in 2010, Father's Day. I've just been getting out to Freshtracks.
So do you love it?
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah. I really enjoy it, yeah.
We initially bought the bikes because there was a couple of guys who used to race bikes, Kevin Lau and also Liam Knight, which some people might know. We got the 2 bikes because I loved it, but now Steve's latched onto it. What's the role of return to sports in the Freshtracks cycle hub?
No worries. Well, we work very closely with Freshtracks to actually set this hub up. So Freshtracks assist us with providing funding and sourcing funding to be able to purchase all the adaptive cycles and equipment we've got out here. And Return to Sport come on board with our expertise within the disability industry. Return to Sport being an initiative of Royal Rehab promoting participation and engagement in sport and recreation for people with a disability. So we're able to bring those skills on board in the hub and act as a partnership to provide this fantastic venue here.
And have you seen people improve after they've been using the bikes for some time?
Oh, certainly. I think Cameron sitting next to me is probably one of the best that's out here. When we first assessed Cameron, we were riding down on what we call the skid pan, which is just off the side here. And that was essentially the level that Cameron was riding at, which was just around in circles, all the way right through into today, where Cameron's ridden independently on about 4 or 5 laps of the 1.5k circuit out here. That's phenomenal to see the guys improve.
And do you think anybody could use this facility?
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose what we want to present, or what I want to say really, is that it doesn't matter what your abilities are. We can certainly get you cycling to some respects. I believe you guys have met Sam Carson out here before. Many people would see an individual like Sam and think to have him cycling independently would be sort of out of the realms of possibility. And yet Sam's out here today riding independently, probably 3 or 4 kilometres around the track. So don't let your perceived sort of what you think about your disability and what your abilities are to sort of stop you from coming out.
And how do you get involved? How do the participants get involved to join the hub?
So pretty much by giving us a call at Return to Sport. I can say my phone number now, it's 1808 9353. But I'm sure you can get details off us through some brochures. But essentially by getting in contact with us, we arrange an assessment date for you out here. An assessment runs for an hour. We run you through how you get on and off the adaptive cycle, safety aspects to that cycle as well. We take you down on the skid pan and run you through some initial assessments. And we do things, we scan to check how your vision goes and if you've got any blind spots, how you go negotiating some obstacle courses out there, work you right up through to riding on the full circuit track depending on your abilities. Once you've been assessed, you get a competency rating, and that means that you can then come back out here and ride to the level of that competency.
Once you've been assessed, there's a couple of free riding days when they can come and use the hub, but do they have anybody looking after them, or is it just a free?
Yeah, so we have the designated free riding days, which is what you've been out looking at today. And we work closely with various universities and to try to get volunteers. We work closely with Macquarie University and their first year Masters of Physio students through a program called HAWK they have. And there's students that come out and assist us with providing the support that's needed to the clients that come out here. So after the assessment, as I mentioned before, a client's given a competency rating. And look, that might mean that you need someone to ride in front of you just to help you to control your speed or to remind you that there's a corner coming up, and that's what the role of that volunteer is out there. For others, the role of that volunteer might be walking next to someone as they ride down on the skid pan, or it might just be providing support for the person getting in and out of the cycle. It really depends on that person's ability.